Hello again, and welcome to the next set of videos in our July journal bind along. If you're just coming into the series at this point, you may want to check out the link below to the series of blog posts so that you can catch up and review and see what we have done previously to our book. At this point, we have bound our text block in a previous series of videos. In this series, we're ready to move on and create our cover for our book, and that will basically be our last step in our journal. I have gathered here all the supplies that I'm going to need to start on the cover. I have, of course, my text block that we have already bound, so I have that handy. I also have board for my cover. And we discussed in the supply list about book board, chipboard, goes under quite a variety of names, different styles and qualities of board. For this book, because it is similar to a comp book or composition book, I want it to have a fairly flexible cover. And this is not something that I expect to last forever and ever for me. So I'm not so worried with archival materials. So what I have chosen for this, it may be something handy you might want to use on an early binding if it's something that you're kind of learning or you want to do a quick, simple binding. This is just packaging. This happens to be from a soda carton of cans, and I've kept some of these pieces, and I'm actually going to use this for my cover. So it is sturdy enough, but it will have the give that I also want to the book. So what I have here for the cover is this that I have cut down to the same height as my book. Right now I'm not really concerned with length as long as it is longer than the width of my book, but just that my height is basically exactly the same. So I have enough of that for a front and a back cover. I've chosen paper for my cover, and a variety of paper that you could use for a cover like this. It's a fun one to sort of be a little creative, maybe use something that you're repurposing. I'm going to use this sheet of paper, which is actually some vintage wallpaper that a friend gave me a roll of quite a few years ago, and I've put it to a lot of uses. I love the print and the colors in it. I'm going to use that for my cover, and then I've also selected some duct tape, or a similar sturdy tape that will actually wind up being the spine of my book. Okay, one other thing that I wanted to go over with you in this video is addressing the text block. We had sort of mentioned earlier about how this text block would start to step out page by page, and you can see on mine that it's a fairly thick text block. It's about 3/4 of an inch, even now that I have pressed it and it's a little bit compressed, probably to about what it will be once it's bound. I have quite a bit, maybe about half an inch that's coming out from the very first page. That doesn't concern me on this book. I know that I'm going to add enough things to it, tabs, things like that. I'm not concerned with a straight flush edge. But if you would like one, one way to accomplish that is once you have your book to this point where it is bound, you can take a nice metal ruler and line it up with your first page and take a X-Acto knife with a nice sharp new blade and just draw down. And you're going to have to make multiple cuts to work your way through the text block, basically just cutting sheet by sheet as you go. But you can work your way through there, especially if you have a thinner text block and you'd like that to all be the same, to be flush. You could certainly do that. Now would be the time to go ahead and do that if that's something that you would like to do to your text block. So at this point, we will just gather all of our supplies to make our cover. If you'd like to go ahead and trim your text block if you want to do that, and then we will be ready to move along to our next step to actually measure our front and back cover and to go ahead and tape that up and create one cover piece.